The sky was on fire. Bright orange flames lit up the clouds as the alien cadet transport tore through the atmosphere. Smoke poured from its wings. Warning alarms screamed inside the ship. "Brace for impact," the commander shouted. The young cadets strapped themselves in. Some were shouting. Others were silent, their faces pale with fear. The jungle planet below looked peaceful. It wasn't. With a thunderous roar, the ship crashed through the trees. Branches shattered, metal bent, sparks flew. The ground shook as the transport slammed into the earth and skidded through the undergrowth. Then everything went quiet. Smoke rose from the wreckage. The twisted hull groaned. One by one, the cadets climbed out of the broken ship. "Is everyone alive?" asked Ralvek, the squad leader. "I think so," said Yaren, coughing. "But the Cums are dead. No signal." Ralvek looked around. Giant trees surrounded them. Vines hung from branches like snakes. Strange birds screamed overhead. "We're stuck," he said. "Command won't find us fast. What do we do now?" asked a young cadet named Fricks, his voice shaking. "We survive," Ralvek said. "Set up camp. This planet is primitive. We'll be fine until rescue comes." They moved fast. Training took over. Tents were built from salvaged cloth. A fire was made. Ration packs were opened by nightfall. They had a small camp ready. Some cadets laughed. "This jungle is nothing," said one. "I've seen scarier gardens." "Yeah," said another. "No threats here, just bugs and trees." But the jungle was watching. That night, strange sounds echoed through the trees. Whispers, leaves rustling, branches snapping. Fricks woke up suddenly. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Ralvek sat up, listening. Then came a scream. It was short, sharp, and filled with terror. The cadets ran toward the sound. Flashlights danced through the trees, but there was no sign of their comrade, only a broken boot. Blood smeared. On the leaves, they searched until morning. Nothing, Ralvek, stood by the trees, frowning. "He's gone," he said quietly. "Taken." "Taken by what?" asked Yaren. Ralvek didn't answer. When the sun rose, the cadets found something else. Near the edge of the jungle, a strange structure had been built. Sharp bamboo poles stuck out from the ground. A net was hanging from the trees, torn and bloodstained. Stepped closer. "It's a trap," he said softly, "but not a wild one." "This was made by someone. Someone, or something," said Yaren. Ralvek's eyes narrowed. This planet was marked as abandoned. No intelligent life. Then who made this? Fricks asked. Nobody answered. The jungle rustled again. Eyes watched from the trees, and deep within the shadows, something smiled. The cadets stood in silence. The bamboo trap looked simple, but deadly. Sharp spikes, torn vines, fresh alien blood still dripping from the wood. Ralvek crouched next to it. "This was made by hand," he said. Fricks stepped back, his eyes wide. "By what an animal! Another species." Ralvek shook his head. "No animal does this. This is military style. Whoever made this knows how to kill." Jaren's voice was low. "But this planet is listed as empty." "Clearly not anymore," Ralvek said. He turned to the others. "Stay close. No wandering. Double the guards tonight." The cadets obeyed, but fear had settled in their bones. That night, the jungle didn't sleep. The fire crackled in the middle of the camp. Shadows danced on the trees. Strange noises echoed from the dark hissing creaking footsteps. Fricks sat by the fire, holding his plasma knife. His hands were shaking. "I can't do this," he whispered. "This place feels cursed." "Relax," said Yaren, trying to sound calm. "We're trained for worse." Fricks looked around. "No, this is different. Something's hunting us." Ralvek walked up behind them. "It is." They both turned. "What do you mean?" Yaren asked. Ralvek dropped something near the fire, a broken arrow carved from bamboo, sharpened with stone. "I found this near the north side," he said. "Someone shot it at me." Fricks stood up fast. "Shot at you?" "Yes." "Then we're not alone," Yaren whispered. Ralvek looked toward the dark trees. Double quotes, "No, we're not." The next morning, another cadet was gone. No blood this time, no sound, just missing. His sleeping bag lay open, his gear untouched. Only one thing was left, behind a wooden sign stuck in the dirt. words carved into it. Fricks read it out loud. "Whoever did this speaks our language." Ralvek picked up the sign. "It's not just a survivor. It's someone trained, someone who knows us." Yaren looked around nervously. "We need to leave. We can't," said Ralvek. "The ship is dead. No signal, no backup." "Then we're stuck here," Fricks whispered. Ralvek stared into the jungle. "No, we fight." That day, they searched the area. They found more traps. A pit filled with sharpened sticks, a vine net strung between trees, a swinging log with spikes, all made from bamboo and jungle materials, all placed perfectly to kill. "This isn't random," said Ralvek. "This is a battle plan." Fricks kicked the dirt. "Who the hell are we fighting?" No one had an answer. Later, while scouting, Yaren found something strange. Old gear, rusty, covered in moss. A helmet, human design. He picked it up and brushed off the dirt. The emblem was faded, but still there, a symbol from the human wars. Decades ago, Gogi brought it back to camp. Ralvek stared at it for a long time. "This doesn't make sense," he said. Fricks looked confused. "What is it?" Ralvek looked up. "This is human, you mean? A human is here?" Yaren asked. Ralvek nodded. Slowly, "Not just any human. A soldier from the old war." Fricks swallowed hard. "But that war ended years ago." "Exactly," Ralvek said. "Which means he was left behind." That night, no one slept. The fire burned brighter than usual. Guards stood in pairs. But the jungle was quiet. Too quiet, then came a whisper. Ralvek jumped up. "Who's there?" No reply, only laughter. Deep, cold, faint. They ran toward the sound with flashlights. But there was no one, just trees, and another sign hanging from a vine. "Next time, you won't wake up." Ralvek stared. "At it? He's watching us." Yaren backed away. "Where is he?" Ralvek looked up into the trees. "Everywhere?" The cadets didn't speak much the next morning. They just stared at the jungle, at the trees that had eyes, at the leaves that whispered secrets. Ralvek stood at the edge of the camp, scanning the trees. He hadn't slept. None of them had. The voice from last night still echoed in his head. "You were warned. Whoever this is," he said quietly, "they're toying with us." Fricks sat on a rock, sharpening his blade. "He's watching. Always watching," Yaren muttered. Ralvek turned. "We're not going to sit and wait to die. Today, we hunt him." "But how?" Fricks asked. "He moves like a shadow." "He's just a man," Ralvek said. "He bleeds like we do." Yaren shook his head. "You didn't see how fast he moved last night." "I saw enough," Ralvek said. "Form teams. We sweep the jungle. Watch for traps. We find him. We end this." They moved in groups of two. Ralvek and Fricks took the north side. Yaren and another cadet named Tavik went south. The jungle was thick, hot, loud, but underneath the buzzing of insects and the call of birds, there was something else, breathing heavy. And close Fricks kept glancing up at the trees. "Do you think he lives up there?" he asked. Ralvek nodded. "If I were him, I would." They found more signs, strange carvings, on tree trunks, tied bones hanging from branches, an old boot nailed to a tree, all warnings, all meant to scare. It was working on the south side. Yaren stepped over a root-hand. A sharp crack echoed. A vine snapped above him. Tavik shouted, "Duck!" But it was too late. A spiked log came swinging from the trees. It slammed into Yaren and hurled him into the brush. Blood sprayed. Tavik ran to him. He was alive, but barely. Ribs crushed. Face pale. Tavik screamed for help. By the time the others reached him, Yaren was unconscious. Ralvek stared at the trap. It was perfect. Too perfect. "This isn't luck," he said. "This is experience." They carried Yaren back to camp and tried to treat him. Their medkits were low, and the fear was rising. Ralvek Fricks said that night, voice shaking, "What if he's not just a man?" Ralvek looked up. "What do you mean?" Fricks's eyes were wide. "What if he became something else? Something more?" Ralvek didn't answer. He couldn't. That night, Ralvek couldn't sleep. He sat by the fire, staring at the darkness. Then he heard it, a soft clink. He turned. Something had landed. Near his feet, it was a small metal case. Cautiously, he picked it up. It was old, covered in dirt. He opened it. Inside was a data chip. Ralvek stood and went to the shipwreck. The power was weak, but the console still worked. He plugged in the chip. A video loaded. It was old, grainy. A human face appeared on the screen. Young, angry, dirty, his name. Badge read, LT, Marcus Shaw. He spoke slowly. This is Lieutenant Marcus Shaw of the 7th Human Recon. If you're seeing this, you found my jungle. Ralvek leaned in. I was left here, forgotten, abandoned during the war. No one came back for me. The video shook as if the man was recording and hiding. I survived, I learned, I adapted. This jungle is mine now. His voice dropped. You enter it, you won't leave. Ralvek's heart pounded. The screen went black. Then one final message appeared. He unplugged the chip and walked out. Fricks was standing outside the camp. I saw him, he said. Ralvek froze. Where? Fricks pointed to the trees. Up there, watching us. Did he do anything? No, just stared. Ralvek looked up, but the branches were empty. He's not going to stop, Fricks said. He's warning us, then maybe we should go. Ralvek shook his head. We can't run, not anymore. They didn't notice the new sign until morning. This one was bigger, carved deep into a tree trunk with a blade. One more chance, then I hunt you. The cadets stared at it. The tree was still bleeding. Sap.fresh, RALVEK. Turn to the others, build barricades, strengthen the camp. He wants a fight. He looked into the jungle. We'll give him one. The cadets worked through the morning. They sharpened sticks, stacked scrap metal, and tied ropes around the camp. It wasn't much, but it was something. Ralvek moved from corner to corner, checking their defenses. We keep him out, he said. Fricks stood near the center, gripping his rifle. I don't think he'll come to us, he muttered. I think he'll make us come to him. Ralvek stopped. What do you mean? Fricks looked at the jungle. He plays with us. He sets traps. He wants to break us first. Ralvek didn't argue, because deep down, he knew it was true. Numbers. He had experience, and the jungle was his. The sun was high when Tavik screamed. They found him near the edge of the camp, frozen in shock. He pointed at something behind a bush, a body, face down, covered in vines and mud. They flipped it over. It was one of the missing cadets. Eyes wide open, mouth filled with leaves. Dead. Ralvek stepped back. Fricks whispered, Why bring him here? Ralvek answered, A message. Yaren, now awake and weak from his injuries, coughed from his bedroll. He's telling us we're next. Ralvek looked at the body again. There was something carved into the chest plate. Letters, in human language, not fast enough. Fricks felt sick. This is getting worse. Ralvek stared into the jungle. We're not fighting a man. Fricks looked confused. What do you mean? He's something else now, Ralvek said. He became part of this place, like the jungle made him its soldier, Tavik asked. Ralvek nodded slowly. Yes, they burned the body that evening. No one spoke during the flames. They just watched and waited as darkness came. The jungle changed. It grew louder, angrier. The wind howled between the trees. The fire flickered. Then they heard it again. Footsteps, steps, soft, careful, close. Ralvek raised his weapon. Everyone ready. But nothing happened. Just shadows, just fear, until they returned to the camp. That's when they saw it, on top of a supply crate. Placed perfectly in the center, sat an object. It hadn't been there before. A journal, worn, torn, covered in mud. Human-made. Ralvek. Picked it up slowly. He opened the first page. Inside was a name. Lt. Marcus Shaw. He flipped through drawings, handwritten notes, survival tactics, trap designs, maps of the jungle, a full war diary. Fricks leaned over. Why leave this here? Ralvek stared. At the last page, it had a single sentence written in bold, shaky ink. You made me this. Suddenly, Tavik shouted. He had stepped back from the crate and fallen into a pit behind it. They rushed over. The pit was shallow, but filled with sharpened bamboo spikes. One spike had gone through Tavik's leg. He screamed. Blood poured. Ralvek pulled him out with help. But Tavik was badly hurt. Ralvek looked at the crate again. The journal had been bait. Another trap. He turned to the jungle, his voice loud. You want war. Come get it. The jungle answered with silence. Then laughter, cold, distant, cold, distant, echoing, Ralvek, tightened his grip on his rifle. No more waiting, Frick stepped beside him. What's the plan? Ralvek looked at the others. We take the fight to him. But we don't know where he is, Yaren said, trying to sit up. I do now, Ralvek said, holding the journal. He mapped everything. The next morning, they prepared. Tavik was left behind, unable to walk. Yaren stayed to guard him. Ralvek and Fricks would go into the jungle. They would follow the journal. They would find Marcus Shaw and finish it. As they moved deeper into the jungle, it became clear. The traps weren't just random. They were a maze, a challenge, a test, Fricks whispered. He wants us to come, yes, Ralvek said. He's waiting. They passed skeletons, old helmets, rusty weapons, the remains of past soldiers all around them. Bamboo structures hung from trees like strange trophies. After an hour of walking, they found it. A clearing dot in the center stood a shelter made of bamboo and metal scraps. A small fire burned, a chair empty, and a flag faded. From the human wars, Ralvek stepped forward. This is his home. Fricks scanned the trees. Where is he? A voice came from the shadows. I've been watching. They turned fast from the treetops. A figure dropped down tall, scarred dressed in leaves and bone armor. His face was painted with ash His eyes were calm cold. Human, I warned you, Marcus Shaw said. Ralvek raised his weapon. We didn't come to die. Marcus didn't flinch. You already did. Fricks fired first, but Marcus was gone before the shot landed. He moved like wind. Ralvek turned, fall back. Too late, Fricks was pulled into the trees, screaming, Ralvek, aimed, nothing. Only silence, only shadows. He ran. Branches whipped his face. He tripped, fell, then rolled into another clearing. He looked up. Marcus stood over him, holding a bamboo spear, stared. I'm not your enemy. Marcus tilted his head. No, but you brought war here. We didn't know, Ralvek said. They never told us. Marcus lowered the spear slightly. I gave you warnings. Ralvek nodded. You did. Marcus turned. You won't leave this place unless I allow it. Ralvek stood up slowly. Then let me earn it. Marcus paused. Why? Because my people forgot you, Ralvek said. I won't. Marcus looked at him for a long moment. Then he turned into the trees and vanished. Ralvek stood alone, alive, for now. Ralvek walked back to camp in silence. He was covered in sweat, mud, and blood. All of it, his Fricks was gone. Tavik was dying. Yaren was barely awake. The camp felt smaller, now broken, crushed. As he entered, Yaren looked up from his place on the ground. You found him, he said. Ralvek nodded. I saw him. Tavik coughed from the corner. Is he a man? Ralvek didn't answer right away. Then he said, he's something else now. The jungle had shaped Marcus Shaw. It had sharpened him, made him part of itself, and now he was a weapon. Yaren forced himself to sit. We can't win. We can, Ralvek said, but only if we stop thinking like soldiers. What does that mean? Tavik asked. Ralvek opened Marcus's journal again. He had studied every page during the night. Trap diagrams, shelter blueprints, maps marked with symbols. He tapped a page. This, he said, he built something, a stronghold, a home. Frowned double quotes where Ralvek pointed to the bottom corner of the map, a red X deep inside a twisted, dark part of the jungle. He called it the fortress. Jern leaned closer. That's where he hides. Ralvek nodded. And that's where we end this. Tavik groaned in pain. Then go, finish it. Ralvek turned to Yaren. Can you hold the camp? Yaren gave a weak smile. If he comes, I'll slow him down. Ralvek checked his gear. Rifle, knife, bamboo torch. He looked around, one last time, then walked into the trees alone. The jungle welcomed him. With silence, birds didn't sing here. Even the wind seemed afraid as he walked deeper. The forest changed. The trees were taller, thicker. Bamboo grew in tight, spiked walls. He stepped over vines, careful not to touch anything. Every shadow could be a trap, and every leaf could be watching. Then he saw it. The first gate, made of sharpened bamboo poles, tied with bone and vines. It wasn't just a door, it was a warning. Ralvek pushed it open. A sharp click echoed beneath his boot. He dove to the side just as 3 bamboo spears shot out from the ground. He rolled and landed hard. Got up, bleeding. He smiled. Clever. He moved slower now. Every step was dangerous. Swinging logs hidden, snares, spikes that dropped from trees. He avoided some, triggered others on purpose. Just to clear a path, his training kept him alive. But it was getting harder. He could feel it. Marcus was watching, testing him. He reached the second gate. This one was higher, covered in old armor plates and markings. As he stepped through, he saw it. The fortress built from ship metal bones and bamboo it rose from the jungle floor like a temple. Silent, still deadly. Alvek crouched in the shadows. He saw traps everywhere, tripwires, triggers, swinging branches at maze of death. But he also saw something else, a small fire. Burning inside, he moved closer, inch by inch, no sudden steps, no noise. No noise at the edge of the firelight. He saw a figure, Marcus, sitting cross, dash-legged, eyes closed. Ralvek raised his weapon, then stopped. He stared. Marcus wasn't moving. Was he meditating? Sleeping? Dead. Ralvek stepped forward. A branch cracked under his foot. Marcus's eyes opened, bright, focused. He didn't flinch. He simply said, "You made it." Ralvek stood firm. "I came to finish it." Marcus smiled, "Then try." He moved, like a ghost. 1 second sitting next, flying through the air with a spear. Ralvek ducked, fired twice, but hit only bamboo. Marcus rolled, picked up a second spear, and charged. Ralvek blocked with his rifle. The bamboo cracked. He kicked Marcus back. They circled each other. The fire flickered between them. "You never should have come here," Marcus said, "and you never should have been left behind." Ralvek snapped. That made Marcus pause just for a second. "I was forgotten," he said. "I didn't forget you," Ralvek said. "None of this had to happen." Marcus's face hardened. "You invaded my world." Ralvek took a deep breath. "I want to leave. I want to bring the others home. But I'm not leaving without ending this." Marcus lunged again. This time, spear grazed Ralvek's side. Blood spilled. Ralvek grabbed Marcus and tackled him into the dirt. They rolled into a pit. Traps triggered above them but missed. They fought hand to hand. Now fists, knees teeth. The jungle roared around them. Then Ralvek saw it, one of the spears Marcus had dropped. He rolled, grabbed it, and aimed it at Marcus's chest. But Marcus didn't flinch. He just stared and whispered, "Do it!" Ralvek hesitated. "You want to die?" Marcus closed his eyes. "I'm already dead." Ralvek threw the spear aside. "No." Marcus opened his eyes, surprised. "I'm not like you," Ralvek said. "I don't kill what's broken." Marcus breathed slowly. "You're not a soldier." "No," Ralvek said. "I'm something else." Now they stared at each other. The jungle grew quiet again. Ralvek stood up. "I'll leave. Take the others. No more traps. No more killing." Marcus stood too. "You don't belong here." "I know," Ralvek said. He turned and walked away. Marcus watched him go. For the first time in years, he didn't follow. The jungle swallowed Ralvek again. He walked fast, bleeding, dizzy but alive behind him. Marcus didn't follow. Not yet. Ralvek didn't know if he had won anything, but he was still breathing. That had to count. The sun was setting by the time he reached the camp. Smoke curled above the tents. The fire was low, and the silence felt wrong. "Too quiet, Yaren," he shouted. No answer. He dropped his gear and ran toward the sleeping area. There, he found Yaren lying on the ground. Awake? Barely. Ralvek knelt beside him. "What happened?" Yaren coughed. "He came." Ralvek looked around. "No damage." Yaren shook his head. "No traps, no weapons." He just stood there, looked at me, and he said, "I'll give you one chance. Leave this place. All of you. Before I change my mind." Then he vanished. Ralvek felt a chill run down his spine. Marcus had spared them. "Why," Yaren groaned. "He meant it, Ralvek. He'll let us go." Ralvek wasn't so sure. He walked over to Tavik's corner. The wounded cadet was barely conscious. His leg was swollen. Infected. Ralvek put a hand on his shoulder. "We're leaving." Tavik gave a faint smile. "Thought you'd never say it." The next morning, they gathered what was left of their supplies. A few rations, a broken transmitter, and hope. Ralvek checked the old transport wreck. Still no signal, but the emergency beacon manually reactivated might send a pulse, even a weak one. Yaren worked on the console. It'll take a few hours, maybe more. Do it, Ralvek said. He stood guard at the edge of camp, eyes locked on the jungle. Waiting Marcus didn't appear. But the trees watched by midday. The beacon sparked to life. A red light blinked slowly, then faster. Jern smiled. It's working. Ralvek nodded. Now we wait. But the jungle had other plans. That night, it moved. Wind roared through the trees. Branches snapped. The fire flickered wildly. Ralvek stood up fast from the shadows. Something came running. Frick's bloodied breathing, hard eyes wide with terror. You're alive, Ralvek, gasped Fricks collapsed. He didn't kill me. Ralvek pulled him up. How did you escape? Fricks shook his head. I didn't. He let me go. Why? Fricks looked straight at him. Because someone else didn't. Ralvek frowned. What? Fricks whispered. There's another one. Ralvek went cold. What are you saying? Fricks pointed at the trees. There's more than Marcus out there. Ralvek stared into the jungle. No, he's the only one. No, Fricks said. He told me. He said, the jungle made others, shadows, killers. Ralvek clenched his fists. If that's true, then we're not safe. The beacon blinked faster. Jern looked up. Signal's strong now. They'll hear us. But the jungle didn't wait. That night, the real attack began. It wasn't Marcus. It wasn't traps. It was something else. Dark shapes, moving fast, no sound, only eyes, red glowing. Aaron screamed. A shadow tackled him to the ground. Ralvek shot 3 times. The shape vanished. Tavik tried to crawl away. Another shadow grabbed his leg and dragged him into the trees. No, Ralvek shouted. He ran after him, but there was only blood. Only silence. Fricks held his rifle tight. What are these things? Ralvek aimed at the darkness. I don't know, but in his mind, he did. Marcus had warned them. Leave, before. I changed my mind. These weren't his traps. These were the jungles, things older than Marcus. Maybe born from his rage, maybe drawn by it. Either way, they were here. The cadets fought all night, shooting, running, screaming. By morning, only 3 were left. Ralvek. Fricks. Jern. The camp was gone. Tents burned. Supplies destroyed. The beacon still blinked, but hope was fading. Ralvek stood over the wreckage. This planet wants us dead. Fricks collapsed next to a tree. Then let's leave. A sound came from the sky, distant, low. Engines. Engine? Looked up a ship. They all turned through the trees. A shuttle appeared, small. Gray. Rescue. The beacon had worked. The ship hovered down into the clearing. The hatch opened. Ralvek helped. Yaren limped forward. Fricks followed, limping, bleeding. As they stepped inside, the pilot looked at them. What happened here? Ralvek didn't answer. He just said, take off now. The ship rose into the air. The jungle below grew smaller, quieter. But just before the clouds closed in, Ralvek looked down one last time and saw him. Marcus Shaw, standing on a branch, watching. Silent. Then he lifted his hand and waved. Not a threat, not a threat. Not a warning. Just a goodbye. Ralvek stared, then whispered, thank you. The clouds swallowed the jungle. The ship turned toward space, and the death world disappeared behind them. But the memory didn't. Ralvek knew the truth now. That place wasn't just a jungle. It was a graveyard, a hunter's home, and a warning. The rescue ship soared through the clouds. Ralvek sat by the window, staring into the emptiness. The jungle was gone, but its presence still lived in his mind. Beside him, Fricks lay quiet, his arm bandaged. Jaren sat near the back, silent, pale. They didn't speak much. No one knew what to say. The pilot kept looking at them through the mirror. You boys sure you're all right? He asked. Ralvek didn't answer. Fricks shook his head slowly. We're alive. The pilot frowned. Sound happy about that? Ralvek turned to him. Just get us off this planet. Yes, sir. The ship broke through the atmosphere. Stars filled the black sky. The station came into view, floating above the planet like a silver eye. Medical crews waited as the shuttle docked. Doors hissed open. Doctors rushed in. Fricks and Yaren were taken. Away, Ralvek refused. "I'm fine," he said, but inside he wasn't the station commander. A tall, sharp-eyed officer met him at the hangar. "You're the team leader." Ralvek nodded. "Where are the others?" the commander asked. Ralvek looked away. "Gone." The commander narrowed his eyes. "Explain." Ralvek was taken into a small room. He sat under bright lights. 2 officers watched him from across the table. He told them everything: the crash, the traps, the signs, the man in the trees. "Marcus Shaw," one officer whispered. "He's a myth. He's real," Ralvek said, and he let us go. The officers exchanged looks. "Why?" Ralvek shrugged. "Maybe because we listened." They asked more questions about the jungle. "The whispers, the attacks," Ralvek told them. About the others, the red-eyed creatures that came in the final night, things that were not Marcus Shaw. Things even he seemed afraid of. One officer leaned forward. "You're saying something else lives on that planet?" Ralvek nodded slowly. "Yes, and we woke it up." The debrief ended. Ralvek was sent to a rest unit. He didn't sleep. He sat by the window. Staring at the planet below, the jungle world spun slowly in the dark. He could still feel it watching him. Later, that night, Fricks knocked on his door. Ralvek opened it. Fricks looked pale, sweating. "You okay?" Ralvek asked. Fricks stepped inside. "There's something wrong with me." "What do you mean?" Fricks pulled up his sleeve. Black lines crawled up his arm. Veins twisted, strange. "I thought it was from the wound," Fricks whispered. "But it's spreading." Ralvek's eyes widened. "We need medical." "No," Fricks shouted. Ralvek stepped back. Fricks's voice dropped. "They'll quarantine me. Lock me away." I heard them talking. Ralvek tried to stay calm. "What happened in the jungle, Fricks?" Fricks looked into his eyes when he let me go. "Marcus said something." "What?" he said. "You've been marked?" Ralvek's stomach turned. "Marked how?" "I don't know," Fricks said. "But I hear things now." He pointed to his head. Whispers. Ralvek didn't speak, because he'd heard them too. Faint, far away. Wind in the leaves that night. The power flickered. The lights dimmed, and the jungle followed them. The lights on the station flickered again. Low hums echoed through the hallway. Something felt wrong. Too quiet, too cold. Ralvek paced his room. He hadn't slept every time he closed his eyes. He saw vines, trees, red eyes, and Marcus's face, and still the jungle hadn't let go. It had followed them. Fricks hadn't come back. After showing Ralvek his arm, he vanished into the corridors. Ralvek had checked the medbay. No one had seen him. No one had logged his name. Like he was never there, but Ralvek knew the truth. He was changing. Ralvek went to the observation deck. He looked out at the jungle planet. Below, clouds swirled over green lands. The place looked peaceful from up here, but it wasn't. Not anymore. A door opened behind him. Yaren limped in, holding onto the wall. His face was pale. Sweat dripped down his neck. "You feel it too?" he asked Ralvek. Turned yes. Yaren's voice was weak. "It's inside us." Ralvek stepped closer. "Show me." Yaren pulled up his sleeve. His veins were dark, twisted, like roots. Ralvek stared. No wounds. "How? I don't know," Yaren whispered. "Maybe from the air. Maybe from the planet itself." Ralvek looked back out the window. New Yaren leaned against the glass. "He didn't just trap people. He kept the jungle from escaping. Then we broke the wall," Ralvek said. He walked quickly through the corridor, past blinking lights, past silent soldiers. He needed answers. He needed to find Fricks. The security office was dark. Only one officer sat at the desk. Half asleep, Ralvek leaned over. "I need access to the last movement logs." The officer blinked. "You don't have clearance." Ralvek slammed his ID badge on the table. "Now I do." The officer hesitated, then pulled up the logs. Fricks's name appeared, room 117C, but it had been locked from the inside for over 6 hours. "No, exit recorded." Ralvek moved fast. The hallway to room 117C was empty. Too quiet. The lights flickered again. He stopped at the door. "Fricks," he called. No reply. He pressed his ear to the metal. Whispers soft like leaves in the wind. Ralvek pulled his sidearm, then forced the door open It was dark inside. The air smelled like wet soil, like forest. He stepped in slowly. The room was torn apart. Scratches lined the walls, the bed was broken, the floor was damp. And in the center, Frick sat on the ground, legs crossed, eyes open, unblinking. His arms were covered in black vines, real vines, growing from his skin. Frick's. Ralvek shouted. Frick's turned slowly. His eyes were red, but calm. "It's okay," he said softly. Ralvek raised his weapon. Frick's smiled. "They chose me." "Who?" Frick's tilted his head. "The jungle, the roots, the old ones." Ralvek stepped closer. "Fight it." "I don't want to," Frick's whispered. His skin cracked. Tiny branches poked through. Ralvek backed away. "You're not Frick's anymore." Frick stood. Vines fell from his arms like snakes. "I'm still me," he said. "But now I understand." "The jungle isn't evil," Frick said. "It's alive. It protects itself. It waited for someone to carry it." Ralvek's hands trembled. "You're infected." "I'm evolving," Frick's whispered. He raised his hand. The vines slithered across the wall. Ralvek fired. One shot to the shoulder. Frick's staggered, then laughed. "I can't die here," he said. "Not anymore." Ralvek turned and ran. The vines chased him, slamming against walls, snapping lights. He burst into the corridor. Guards turned. "What the hell is that?" One shouted. Ralvek yelled, "Containment!" Now the guards opened fire as vines surged out of the door. Black, fast, hungry, Ralvek, ran for the medbay. Jern, was already there. Slumped over a table, his veins now pulsing with green light. Ralvek grabbed a scanner. The results made no sense. His DNA was mutating, changing every second. Jaren's eyes fluttered open. "You can't stop it." Ralvek's voice cracked. "There has to be a way." Jaren whispered, "Marcus was the cure, and we left him behind." Ralvek stepped back. "Then we go back." Jaren smiled. "Weak. You won't make it in time." The station lights turned red. Initiated, Ralvek ran to the command deck. Alarms screamed. Voice shouted over the speakers. "Unknown biological outbreak. Detected. Quarantine in progress." Ralvek grabbed the nearest officer. "This is not a virus. It's something older. No," the officer said. "And we're not letting it spread." Ships were already detaching, sealing doors, jettisoning rooms. Room 117C exploded in fire. They burned Frick's alive, but Ralvek knew it was too late. The jungle had already taken root. Inside them, inside the ship, inside space. The nightmare wasn't over. It had just begun. The station was falling apart. Red alarms flashed across every screen. Containment, shields dropped, rooms were sealed and vented into space. People screamed behind locked doors, but the jungle didn't care. It kept growing inside the vents, through the metal dot inside the people. Ralvek watched through the glass as vines crawled. Along the hallway, thick, black, wet with sap. "They're spreading faster," an officer said behind him. Ralvek didn't turn. "I warned you." The officer wiped sweat from his face. "We thought we burned it." "You burned the body," Ralvek said. "Not the seed." Jaren was gone. Frick's was gone. The others already lost. Ralvek stood alone in the command center. Watching the world he tried to leave. Now reaching for him, he turned to the officers. "I need a ship." One of them laughed bitterly. "You're not leaving. The station is under full lockdown." "I'm not trying to leave for safety," Ralvek said. "I'm going back." The room went silent. Someone whispered back, where Ralvek pointed at the window. "To the jungle. Are you insane?" The officer shouted. "You want to return to that place?" Ralvek nodded, double quotes, "Yes, because we left the only person who could stop this." "Marcus Shaw?" the commander asked. "Yes," Ralvek said. "He wasn't just a survivor. He was a firewall. He kept it contained." A second officer leaned forward. "You think he can stop this now? He's the only one who understands it," Ralvek said. "And maybe the jungle still listens to him." The officers argued, fought, shouted, but in the end, they had no better plan. 20 minutes later, a small scout ship was cleared, old, fast, lightly armed. Ralvek suited up, loaded gear, a torch, a knife, a fire module, no armor, no backup, just him. Before he left, The station commander approached him. "If you fail?" Ralvek nodded. "I won't." He entered the cockpit, breathed once, then launched. The shuttle broke from the station and turned toward the green world below. Ralvek watched it grow larger in the window. Clouds swirled over a land he once ran from. Now he returned willingly. The ship entered the atmosphere. The skies turned orange. The jungle reached up from below. Ralvek activated the old coordinates. He was heading straight for the fortress. Hours passed. The shuttle landed in a small clearing near the old crash site. The trees were taller now, thicker. The jungle had grown even more. Ralvek stepped outside. The air was heavy, sweet, toxic. He could feel it in his lungs. In his blood, the jungle knew him. He walked carefully. Every leaf bent, away as he passed. Every vine twitched. He wasn't afraid. Not anymore. He was part of this now. He followed the path. He remembered. Through the traps, the bones, the signs, none triggered, none stopped him, as if they recognized him by nightfall. He reached the edge of the fortress. It was larger than before, stronger. The bamboo walls had grown. The metal bones now glowed faintly, and on the rooftop he saw him. Marcus Shaw, still alive, still watching, still waiting. Ralvek stepped forward. "I need your help." Marcus didn't move. "Why?" Ralvek lowered his head. "The jungle escaped. It's on the station. It's infecting everyone." Marcus stepped down slowly, barefoot, his skin painted in ash. "You brought it with you." Ralvek looked up. "I didn't mean to." Marcus walked in a circle around him. "Your friend was marked." "I know." Marcus's voice was calm. "You didn't listen?" Ralvek nodded. "I'm listening now." The fire behind Marcus burned low. He stopped. "Why should I help you?" Ralvek's voice was strong. "Because I came back." That made Marcus pause. He looked into Ralvek's eyes. Then he turned toward the jungle. "It's growing faster now, angry, awake." "Then how do we stop it?" Ralvek asked. Marcus said nothing. He reached down, picked up a blade made from ship, metal and bone. He handed it to Ralvek. "You don't stop it." Ralvek took the blade. "Then what?" "You join it," Marcus said. "Or you burn it." Ralvek looked at the trees. "Can we burn it?" "Not with fire," Marcus said. "With memory." Ralvek didn't understand. Marcus explained. "The jungle grows through people, through thoughts, through fear." He pointed at the torch on Ralvek's belt. "That won't stop it," Ralvek asked. "What will?" Marcus looked into the darkness. A long silence passed. Ralvek's heart sank. "You mean you'll stop it alone?" Marcus nodded. "If I go, the jungle loses its core." Ralvek shook his head. "No, we'll do it together." Marcus smiled faintly. "You finally get it." They stepped into the fortress together, lit the fires, prepared. The ritual Marcus had carved into the floor years ago. It was old human, but rewritten by nature, by survival, by death. Ralvek stood on one side, Marcus on the other. The vines began to move. The jungle resisted. It screamed through the air in whispers and winds. Ralvek shouted over the noise. "What now?" Marcus's voice was strong. "Don't let go." They stabbed the blades into the ground. The earth cracked. Light exploded from the bamboo walls, and the earth cracked open beneath their feet. Light poured out from the ground, blinding, hot, alive. The fortress shook. Bamboo walls groaned like ancient bones. Trees bent away from the clearing. The jungle screamed again. No longer quiet whispers. It roared black, like a wounded god. Ralvek stood his ground. Sweat ran down his face. The blade he had stabbed into the earth trembled. Vines shot up from the cracks. Trying to stop the light, they hissed, burned and melted in the glow. Across from him, Marcus held his blade firm. His eyes were closed, his lips moved, chanting words not meant for humans. Words the jungle had given him. "I can't hold it." Ralvek shouted. "You must," Marcus called back. "Just a little longer." The light grew brighter, the vines thicker. Something massive moved. Beneath the ground, Ralvek felt it, a pulse, a heartbeat. The true jungle, the source, was waking up. It was angry, dying, fighting, and then it rose. A massive root burst from the center of the clearing. It twisted into the air like a serpent, black and green, dripping with sap that steamed on the dirt. It reached for Marcus's first. He didn't move. He simply whispered, "I'm ready." The root wrapped around his body, lifted him into the air. Ralvek screamed, "No!" But Marcus didn't fight. He looked down. "Tell them," he said. "I stayed." The root pulled him upward. Wrapped tighter, Ralvek tried to run toward him, but the vines pulled him back, held him in place. Marcus raised one hand, palm open, then the light from the ground shot upward, straight into his body. His scream was deep, not of pain, of release. The vines burned away, the root cracked. The sky above the jungle turned white, and then silence. Ralvek woke on the ground, dust in his mouth, smoke. In the air, the fortress was gone. Flattened, the bamboo had crumbled, the vines had turned to ash. He sat up, slowly, no sounds, no jungle noise, no whispers, just wind. He looked at the spot where Marcus had stood. Nothing remained, only the scorched mark in the shape of a handprint. On the dirt, Ralvek reached forward and placed his hand over it. It was warm, still pulsing, still alive but no longer spreading. The jungle had been sealed again, but at a price. Marcus Shaw was gone. Not dead, returned. One with the jungle forever. Ralvek stood up. He activated his beacon. Ralvek 2, station mission complete. The voice on the other end crackled. "Are you alive?" "Yes," he said. Marcus ended it. There was a pause then, and the infection. Ralvek looked around. The air was clean. Cleared, the trees were still. He whispered, "It's over." The shuttle arrived hours later. Ralvek climbed aboard alone. He stared out the window as the ship rose below him. The jungle world looked small again, but he knew the truth. It was vast and deep, and sleeping as the ship broke through the clouds. He whispered a final message to Marcus. "Thank you." Back on the station, things had changed. The infection had stopped, the vines crumbled, the mutations vanished. Those still alive began to heal. They asked Ralvek questions. Dozens, hundreds. He gave them only one answer. Don't go back. He was cleared for duty weeks later, but he never returned to active command. He spent his time studying survival, writing his reports, and sketching trap designs. Sometimes he stood at the observation deck, staring at the green planet below, remembering the legend of Marcus Shaw. Spread. Some said he became a god. Some said he became the forest. Ralvek knew. The truth, he became the wall, the final guardian, and if anyone dared return, Marcus would be waiting, because Deathworlds never forget, and the jungle always remembers. The end.